Oh, Cynthia, you made a good run. You made a good run. And then you got to be Cynthia. No matter what it is, you got to be Cynthia. No big deal. No harm, no foul. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 12, episode 14. As I was saying, Cynthia been really doing her thing and not being run over. And you know how Cynthia is. She plays the back, and Nene, for the most part of everybody else around her, runs her over, and she just kind of just lets her run her over, and she just has not been allowing it to happen, which I thought was a good thing. I think it's good to see her stand up for herself, just my opinion, you know. And she had a good run of it, but in this episode, they came back together, and she was standing pretty good. But then, Nene won. Nene won. Anyway, let's talk about the episode. So we opened up. Cynthia actually had sent a wine and a card to Nene, thanking her for sending the cheese platters and that to her event, as well as she also sent an invite to come to the wine cellar and have a sit down and talk. So I said, well, this is going to be interesting, because it's been a lot of time, and it's about time they go ahead and do that. A little after that, we see Nene and Marlo, and they're actually talking about it. And I will say this, Nene, some of these looks, it is hit or miss, a lot of miss. But I love the whole white blouse and the platinum blonde bob with the bangs. This is a good look. This is the best I've seen Nene in quite a long time. I thought she looked really good. I did. I thought, when I looked at her, I said, whoa. I said, okay. Because some of the looks are not like, some of those classic ones that I think she was trolling us with. Because a lot of those looks I think she trolled us with. Like the oodles and noodles hairdo. And, the Bride of Frankenstein hairdo that she did. Some of those looks I think she was trolling us with. So, yeah. But this one, beautiful blouse, beautiful hair cut, and it really looked good. I thought she looked really, really nice in that confessional look. I really did. I thought that was really good. But her and Marlo, they're just kicking it and doing their thing, and she's basically telling her, I'm pretty excited to go and talk to Cynthia. It's been long enough. And you can tell Cynthia misses Nene and Nene misses Cynthia. No matter what they've been through, they're mad at each other and all that. But they miss each other. Period. That's all there's to it. And you can see it. Because naturally they're filming on both sides and we see what they don't see. They miss each other. Period. So, then we go over and we see good old Cynthia and Kenya. And I just laughed at Cynthia showing up at Kenya's house looking like a whole supermodel. She just showed up with like just a shirt. That wasn't a shirt dress. That was a shirt. You came in with a beautiful blouse on, basically looking like a whole model. A whole model. It was so Beverly Johnson-esque. It was. I ain't mad with it at all. I said, go ahead, Cynthia. That's what I'm talking about. That's Cynthia Bailey. Okay, came in there tearing it up. And I noticed right away, Brooklyn likes her some Cynthia. Little Brooklyn, she's a cute little baby. She just, when Cynthia come in and talked to her and held her, because she was giving Kenya the blues before that. She was in there cutting up. But she just looked, and you just caught a couple scenes where she's just looking at Cynthia like in awe. Like she just likes her some Cynthia. I said, well, that is just so precious. That is so cute. So I was sitting here thinking, I said, maybe one day Cynthia will end up being a grandma and she'll have this whole thing going on, because I don't know about you and little babies, but baby, that little Brooklyn seems to like her some Cynthia Bailey. She was just looking up at Cynthia, and just her little eyes were just as big and just as sparkling. I said, well, look at her. That was very cute to me. Very, very cute. But I noticed that in a couple scenes. They're not, and you could tell it was probably a longer period of time they were filming, because there was points where you seen her playing with her shoe and carrying on. She was, they were filming, and I was like, go on, Miss Brooklyn, honey, gonna be a star. I guess Brooklyn's the next up and coming after Ace, because Ace got this whole thing down pat. Candy's little boy. Anyway, moving on. Cynthia definitely told Kenya from the door, listen, all this, she said, girl, you left me smelling like asphalt, honey. The way you threw me under the bus. I said, come on through, Cynthia. She's just not sitting around letting people do her. And I'm like, I'm here for it. They talked about that. Kenya apologized. She didn't get all snipey and smart or none of that stuff. She apologized to Cynthia, which she should have, because you really did throw her under the bus. Then they talked a little bit about Mike's book. Cynthia, leave this alone. I want you to leave this alone. I don't want you to mess up what you got going on with this. I really don't. I really don't. Come too far to screw up now with this. But they talked about Mike's book and his past infidelities. Kenya basically told her, yeah, you gotta be, watch out for that, and possibly and seek some counseling. Okay, I'll go for the counseling thing. But the fact that he wrote the book and he's coming clean about it, I think that you could feel some safety in that. And again, I've written a book about my life as well, so it can be very cathartic. It's very freeing, and you can unload a lot of things when you are doing that. So I think you're in a safe space, personally. I do. Again, but that's not for me. That's for you. You need to ease your mind, but don't get too tied up in this and screw up what you have going on some old bull crap. You know what I mean? Anyway, moving on. Cynthia and Nene, they have their talk. Baby, they start right in. Cynthia was doing good. She was holding it down. She was not allowing Nene to punk her. She wasn't. And Nene wasn't ready. You could tell. Nene was not ready. She thought she was just going to go in there, bulldoze over Cynthia, figured enough time it went back. You know how Nene is. Nene's very calculated, very bitchy. She rolled up in there, felt like enough time has went by that she's made her pay enough, and that she misses her enough. She came in totally, Nene, you got to give her that. When I was young, I was taught, my grandmother taught, you come in like you own the joint. That's how you move. Like you walk into a place like you own the joint. And Nene very much does that. She walks in like she owns the joint. She owns the room when she comes in. And that is, part of the thing that makes us like Nene, because she is that type of personality. But then sometimes it's, depending on what's going on, when it's real life, your real life, and your real feelings and friendship or love interest, things like that little lesson of owning the room is not necessary. When it has to do with you and a loved one, you don't need to walk in and own the room. Sometimes you need to put that down and just come on in and be, authentically you, and not, being the bitch side of you. But she come in trying to own the room, and she ended up walking out. She got to the point, she was at the point where Cynthia wasn't having it. And Cynthia's like, and you, and she wasn't letting her bulldoze her. And Nene was literally speechless there for a minute. I was like, girl, you got her on the ropes, girl, knock her head off, honey, you got her. So Nene gets up and goes outside. So Cynthia's sitting there. Now me, I'd have been Well, the way their friendship is in general, I've been done with the friendship period. So I probably wouldn't even been having this conversation with her, but she ends up going outside, and Cynthia broke it back and became Cynthia. And of course, Nene won. She won because still played hard, and Cynthia's trying to get her to hug her, and she's like, "I know you're hurt." Basically, we not gonna go around and around like they did because it was going on too long. It was getting on my nerves. Cynthia cowered down to it and let Nene win. She said, she just realized that life is just too short. And she wanted her friend. So she went ahead on a cower down and let her win. But Cynthia, you did a good job up to the end. And it's fine. It's fine, I guess. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how long this lasts before she turns back into Nene bitch. We'll see. Anyway, moving on. So Nene ended up having this jungle brunch. It's a brunch with a jungle theme, and it's like a woman's, I want to say empowerment, but it's more like a sisterhood brunch that she invited all the girls, and they all start to show up and everything. First of all, Portia has a conversation with that talking ass Marlo. Marlo talks too much. That's all there's to it. Marlo is a bone carrier, and she talks too much. She immediately got off the phone and ended up going, and Portia had told her, I'm not, me and Nene, I didn't like the invitation. It felt like it had underlying digs thrown at our situation, and I just ain't feeling it, so I don't think I'm going to come. And Marlo's like, no, 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 you should come, blah, 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 blah. Portia's like, nah, you have fun. Hung up the phone. We move on. We go on to the lunch. Eva and Cynthia are the first ones getting there. Eva is having contractions, and they're like 11 minutes apart. She really didn't want to say anything to Cynthia, but you could tell she was literally in pain. She's in pain. It's like things are happening. And they get in there, and I just cringed looking at Eva. I felt so bad for her. You could tell she just didn't feel well. And she was trying to power through with her little tiny self. She really was. By this time, Candy showed up. They ended up calling Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie's like, to the hospital. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Get your butt to the hospital. Eva started to cry because she really didn't want to go to the hospital. Not just that, it's early. It's early, so that just ain't helping. Yeah, it was. Ooh, that was a rough scene. That was rough. Yeah, well, I was over there giving. It was a rough scene. But Cynthia ended up taking her little Eva to the hospital. Candy stayed, and then by this time Tanya showed up. Tanya, she's so loud. She's so loud. Whoo! Hey, just Tanya. She's cool. And they go up into the brunch. So they're sitting there. Then Kenya shows up. Kenya's being Kenya being a bitch. Kenya shows up for the brunch. Everybody's supposed to wear an animal print. Of course, Kenya shows up in a white jumpsuit. And she has a snakeskin purse. Period. That's it. She got there. She stayed literally for, what was it, about 5 or 7 minutes. They were counting them down. And then she left. She said, oh, no, I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting on her. She's very shady to Tanya naturally because she's still on that bull that went on between her and Tanya. And she stayed, I believe it was 7 minutes, and she left. And then Nene literally shows up 2.5 hours late. I couldn't believe, I said, y'all, what you do for a check? Because I couldn't believe Candy and Tanya sat there all that time. But she was 2.5 hours late. And Candy explains what went on with Cynthia and Eva and that. And then she's like, well, girl, we showed up. We're here. This, nothing, and the other. And Candy's like, oh, girl, ain't no issue. There's other people here. Here comes my other friends. and here come this whole group of women. So I'm laughing like, wait a minute. So did y'all have one call time and these other people had a whole different call time, and the actual luncheon didn't really start until like 2? She had y'all sitting there purposely 2 hours early, 2.5 hours early. All these women that ain't nobody never seen before. I was like, who the hell are they? And that's the way that the girls were. Candy was like, who is these random broads? You know, whole group of women. She had a whole luncheon, and basically the girls from Real Housewives of Atlanta were the guests because these other girls, they all seemed to have known what was going on, and the Real Housewives girls didn't. I was like, more Nene goddamn foolishness. You know, and I don't think Candy appreciated it at all. At all. Truly, being the stars of the show and being treated like extras, because that's how it came across to me. That the actual stars of the show were treated like extras, and I think they felt that way. Marlo rolls in like a little bit after that, so she's like 25 minutes after Nene. Marlo rolled in, so Marlo had the real time down. She rolled up in there and starts running her mouth about the whole conversation between her and Portia. And right through all that, look who shows up. Portia and Shamia. Portia thought better of it, got dressed, and came on. Of course, Nene did the same thing as Kenya. So it's probably a good thing that Kenya wasn't there when Nene got there, because Nene dressed in all black and then had a purse with a little animal print on her purse. I said, oh God. Anyway, so when Portia walks up, here go Tanya with all her animation. Oh, ah. I said, you know, Tanya, somebody will bust Tanya in the mouth. Because see, Tanya, you're a perfect person where things ain't have to be what they have to be. And you bust out and make a person feel as though they've been being talked about when they walk into the room. Because anybody asks for all that. Shut up, Tanya. But she going all that. Portia comes in, and of course Nene, being Nene, you know, she's still going to try to throw a little bit of shade or whatever. But tells, you know, I'm glad you came and that the other. And you know, Portia was like, well, girl, I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about the way it was. I thought there was shade in the little thing. And she's like, it's fine. I don't have a problem having the conversation with Nene, but not in front of these women. I don't even know these women. Who are these broads? And I think every one of them, Candy and Portia, really felt like, who are these broads? We are the stars of the show. Why are we here like we're extras? And that's really how it came across. I was like, oh, Nene, girl, you really wear me out with this little stuff that you be doing. Just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. But that was that. Either end up calling back and letting her know, you know, what was going on with her, you know, and that she might be having a baby, you know. So she said Cynthia had just left, you know, her husband had actually got there, her mic had actually gotten there, and Cynthia had left. Cynthia stayed with her until her husband came, which was really, really nice. But that's where we ended up at. It was really, oh, Nene, child. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Y'all let me know in the comments. Did Nene get on y'all's nerves? Sure, she got on my nerves, child. Anyway, I'm out. I'll talk to y'all next week.